This is the story how Final Fantasy XIV redeemed my youth and gave me the gift of connection in ways I never would have imagined. This is my love letter to all of you in the community and a bittersweet farewell to those I have grown to love. Growing up, I missed out on a lot of the social gaming experiences that my friends partook of, strengthening their bonds in the real world. Games such as RuneScape, Halo, Call of Duty, and even World of Warcraft were the experiences I deeply longed for but simply could not participate in due to my family's financial situations. I would hear about stories from my friends about their nights before spent questing in RuneScape or playing multiplayer together in Halo and forming the most amazing gaming memories a child could dream of. I would hear their tales of communal conquest and marvel. I would try imagining what it would feel like to experience such camaraderie. For years to come, I would simply enjoy older hand-me-down games from extended family members, while my peers stayed current with the gaming industry. I remember one year for my birthday, my parents had saved enough money to buy me a PlayStation 2, for which I was overjoyed, and in disbelief that I was now the owner of a real console. They couldn't afford any games at the time, so that night I just stared at the advertised games on the box with amazement as I imagined what modern gaming would be like. It was a magical night. In the months to come, I was gifted 2 used games from an extended family member for my PlayStation 2, which would drastically change the way I played video games. The first game was Final Fantasy X, which was an emotional masterpiece and my very first experience with high-quality cutscenes. As a young person, I was drawn in by the emotional storytelling and powerful music as I learned about the power of friendship in light of overcoming great challenges. I experienced a coming-of-age moment after completing the game, with tears streaming down my face as I watched Tidus fade into the wind. I felt hollow for days afterwards as I contemplated the story themes. I had never witnessed such a moving story at that time in my life. I was left with a deep longing for connection in the same way I saw Tidus possess with his group of friends. The second game was Kingdom Hearts, which I experienced not soon after beating Final Fantasy X. I was left speechless watching the opening cutscene as goosebumps crawled over my skin as I heard Simple and Clean for the very first time. It was a spiritual experience in many ways. Once again, I encounter the powerful story themes of friendship as a vessel of overcoming darkness. The emotions provoked by Sora's story were deeply powerful and taught me the value of true strength being found in friendships. Similarly to Final Fantasy X, I completed the game with tears and deep contemplation. I would continue to play these games over the years to come as my friends delved deeper into online gaming, an experience that remained barricaded behind my financial constraints. As I took Tidus and Sora through their adventures for the 10th time, my friends began speaking of things like guilds, factions, and clans, concepts that would remain a stranger to me for years to come. My love for single-player RPGs was birthed by circumstances, but solidified in the emotions they created as I accepted that single-player gaming was likely all I would experience. As an adult, I have been blessed with the ability to treat my inner child with gifts without financial barriers. I feel as though I am a time traveler going back in time and bestowing games to my inner child. In many ways, it's strangely healing. One of the gifts I bestowed upon myself was Final Fantasy XIV, which I obtained during the winter Steam sale. And if I'm honest, the main reason I purchased this game was because I heard the storytelling was stellar and that the game had enough content to last years. I owned the game for almost an entire year before even playing it, as I had several other games I was exploring. It wasn't until a rainy Saturday afternoon that I was browsing my Steam library hoping to pass some time that I remembered that I owned Final Fantasy XIV. I decided to give it a try, and if I wasn't hooked in an hour or so, I would once again load up Skyrim for the 600th time. As I am waiting for Final Fantasy XIV to boot, I stare off outside the window in my gaming room as the rain pours and streams down the window. Suddenly, the opening theme begins playing through my headphones, immediately grabbing my attention. The music score dances over my skin, leaving goosebumps in its wake. I immediately feel as though I am 12, playing Kingdom Hearts for the very first time. At this point, time seems to stop, as I spend hours creating my character, choosing my class, delving into my first quests, and exploring a whole new world. My first true MMORPG gaming experience. I spend the next month playing Final Fantasy XIV on a daily basis as though it's a single-player RPG. I had no real interest in the community aspect of the game. Perhaps this was because it was so foreign to me that I avoided it. In fact, I cared so little for making friend connections that I joined Oceania server despite living in North America because of the massive XP boosts given to new players who chose Oceania server. That is, until one day in LIMSA. I'm on my way to unlock and start my second job class, the Warrior, when a pink-haired demon horn person runs up to me and emotes and waits for my reciprocation. Not wanting to be rude, I search frantically how to emote. Minutes go by until I finally found where the emotes are located and click bow. My character respectfully bows to the player, still waiting patiently. Next thing I know, I'm being invited to join a FC, a free company. I hesitate as I previously had no interest in being formally tied to other players, very much wanting a very solo experience. Perhaps it was the long queue times that day, or maybe because I still had so many questions about the game. Whatever the motivation, I impulsively accept the invitation to join the Glade FC in Oceania. I'm immediately invited to join their Discord group, which I reluctantly accept. To my surprise, I'm met with overwhelming greetings. It was strange, but I replied and thanked everyone for their warm welcomes. Over the next several days, my Final Fantasy XIV gaming experience began to drastically change. I was met with warm welcome messages every time I logged into the game. My dungeon party was now filled with FC members, and any question I had was met with gentle instruction and even gifts in the game. I thought this was simply a phase, and perhaps I would log in next week to find myself back in the single-player RPG mindset. Well, fast forward over 100 days later, and that phase never ended. In fact, it only grew and became even more pervasive. I began to make real friends. I began to take breaks from quests to hang out in LIMSA with my FC. I did things like group poses and pictures, community events, daily greetings, group dungeons and raids, and of course, Discord voice chat for hours on end. I created bonds with people I never met in real life, yet, in many ways, am closer to than real-life friends. As I began to experience Final Fantasy XIV in its true essence, I realized that this was that moment I longed for as a young boy. Suddenly I'm having flashbacks to when my friends spoke of guilds, clans, and factions at the school cafeteria as I listened about their late nights spent overcoming some great feat in the game they were all playing. Was this the feeling that Titus had as he traveled with Auron, Kamari, Riku, Lulu, Waka, and Yuna? Was this the feeling that kept Sora pushing forward through the darkness to rescue Riku? Indeed, this is the gaming experience I longed for in my youth. These were the adventures I longed to share. These are the late night quests I marveled at. This is my cafeteria moment. Knowing how impactful these connections have become makes this next piece all the more difficult. My departure. This news comes with a heavy heart and much deliberation. For you see, peak times in Oceania equates to roughly 4 a.m. in North America time, which has become increasingly difficult with my real-world responsibilities as of late. Consequently, my progress in the game has halted as I struggle to even finish daily roulettes in a reasonable time. This is not to say that the friends I've made are not worth such obstacles. In fact, I would have continued if it weren't for the consolation I've received from my FC friends. As of today, I am officially leaving Oceania and moving to Crystal to better align with my time zone. Additionally, I will be leaving the Glade FC in search of a new community to adventure alongside with. While creating an alt character to remain in Oceania remains an option, I know that with real-life responsibilities, my time will be greatly limited if split between multiple characters. Additionally, my journey in Final Fantasy XIV has always been full immersion. I not only feel deeply connected to my current character, V, but also treat his adventures, relationships, and experiences very seriously, which could be affected if trying to navigate two character roleplays. When I officially announced to my FC that I would be leaving Oceania, I experienced so much love and support. It was emotional as I read all of your wonderful comments and messages. I felt the depth of our connection we all formed in our time together. To all of those who ran dungeons with me, greeted me hello, patiently advised me in ways to play better, helped me find quest lines, carried me on your mounts, and made V feel real, I thank you. Thank you for reminding me that my real Final Fantasy was to feel connected with others as we overcome the darkness. The final frontier of the soul is fighting for connection no matter the distance. As is customary in many cultures and religions, I will be altering my appearance and my name to signify a rebirth as I join Crystal. From this day forward, I will bear the name Paisios Vainimus, with the alteration of the eyes into a golden bronze. The significance of this name is twofold. Paisios is the name of a monk who is known for his kindness, a theme that this community has continually shown me. V is the original name, which is now hyphenated with the word Nemus, which means glade in Latin, the name of my very first FC. The significance of the eye color is also found in the name change, primarily in the word Nemus, meaning glade in Latin. The word glade in Old English was often used not just to indicate a clearing in the woods, but one which was also filled with sunlight, therefore rendering the eye color significant. I want to express heartfelt thankfulness to all of my friends that I've acquired in Oceania and say thank you for making this gaming experience the fulfillment of my childhood dreams. I'm truly in debt to each of you for the memories we formed together. As I officially transfer to Crystal, I would like to implore all of you watching. To those that I am leaving behind in Oceania, I pray you continue to expel the darkness throughout Eorzea while finding others to offer safe haven, like you have offered me, a great kindness. Thank you for bringing me into your hearts and into your guilds and into your friendships. To those in Crystal, I pray we find each other so that I may learn from you and find in you a friend, that together we may rid Eorzea of her woes and share many adventures. And to those whom I have met and to those whom I will meet, may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.